We are live. Hey everyone, it's the Nootropic Reviewer. Let's keep this question and answer fairly clean. Please don't ask me where to get specific nootropics. I want to be just providing value. So feel free to answer your question and I will get to you and I will highlight them so you all viewers know which question I'm responding to. And let's go. First, somebody asked me, how is Wellbutrin withdrawal? Wellbutrin withdrawal is not as strong as the withdrawals you may get from like ADHD meds like Concerta or like Vyvanse, for example. It is there. What I had noticed was I actually came down from taking a higher dose of Wellbutrin to a lower dose. And fortunately, I didn't really experience withdrawals. I didn't notice like lowered energy or anything like that. But one thing that was significant was that Wellbutrin, it really did help with weight loss. It did help to increase your metabolism to some extent, and I didn't get that benefit. So it's a little bit harder to stay lean now that I'm on a lower dose of Wellbutrin. What are your thoughts on DMHA? I have actually yet to try DMHA, surprisingly. I know it's fairly popular, especially in nootropic blends out there. Can Tongkat Alley can teenagers take Tongkat Alley? And what do you think about the other types of Tongkat Alley, like black Tongkat Alley and red Tongkat Alley? Now, the only the only different types of Tongkat Alley I'm familiar with are the different urocominone percentages, like Nootropics Depot has. I specifically like the 2% urocominone. Should teenagers take it? I don't think so, especially for teenagers. Keep in mind, you probably have the highest free testosterone levels you're going to experience throughout your whole life. So unless you really think that you need something, then yes, it's better than, of course, going on anabolics, although I don't think it's necessary. You can probably achieve getting higher testosterone levels by simply making adjustments to your diet. Lose weight if you're overweight, and definitely incorporate some heavy lifting. We know that rep ranges like 5 to 8 reps are generally going to be the best when it comes to improving your testosterone levels, and stick to compound movements, bench press, deadlifts, squats, pretty much any heavy leg training. Do you consume caffeine every day? Yes, I do consume caffeine every day. There was probably one day this past year that I did not consume caffeine, and that was actually a mistake. I thought I consumed it, but I didn't. Although, note, I have tried taking about 8 months off of caffeine. This was in 2017 or 2018. What happened was I went to a Tony Robbins personal development seminar, and after the seminar ended, he said to the whole audience, get off of caffeine for a bit, get off of sugar for a bit, stop eating meats just for a bit. And I did that for a bit, and I felt like I wanted to lengthen it as long as I could. So I went about 8 months off of caffeine. And the one thing was, I noticed my work ethic surprisingly didn't actually drop. My work ethic was actually better, or it was just maybe just as good, because of the fact that I wasn't experiencing those highs and lows that you would get with caffeine. Although one thing which really bothered me was I couldn't keep the physique that I had built. So going into the time that I stopped taking caffeine, I had a really good physique. I was really happy with it. And then slowly and slowly, when you're off of caffeine, you don't get that thermogenic benefit. It's not as easy to stay lean, specifically if you're used to carrying more fat on your body. And so I reintroduced caffeine into my daily routine, and better energy levels. My workouts are better, and feeling good about feeling good with it so far. Especially because I practice intermittent fasting. It's really good for the morning and early afternoon at getting work done. And if I wasn't on intermittent fasting, then I would probably take some caffeine breaks. But this is going to be dependent on the individual. Some people are more sensitive to caffeine. Some people aren't. Some people build the tolerance. I'm fortunate. I'm just not one of those people. Caffeine is still as effective as it was almost day one, you can say. And I apologize. I had the wrong comment that was highlighted throughout that whole explanation. How many are you taking on a daily basis? Not sure what you're referring to. If it's supplements or nootropics, maybe 15 to 20. Have you tried PRL 853? I did try it specifically with the expectation that it would really improve my memory, and I was disappointed. Maybe it's because I'm taking Bacopa, I'm taking Piracetam, I'm taking Alpha GPC 2 to 3 times a day, so I'm getting a lot of the memory enhancing benefits from those specific nootropics. So perhaps if I wasn't taking anything and I tried PRL 853 over something else, then I would have noticed it. But I've gone Three attempts with taking PRL 853 to improve my memory, and didn't notice anything with them. Why do you use Nootropics Depot products only? First is I don't. Although it may seem that way, before Nootropics Depot, there was a number of different sites. There was Powder City, Smart Powders, bodybuilding.com, of course, had a lot of things. Where else? New Star Nootropics. There was a lot of sites. But what so is Nootropics Depot has been around for a long time, and they've been pretty good at serving the community, and they serve here in Canada, so I've been happy with them. But for example, last week was out of a number of things. Like I was out of Tribulus, was out of the fish oil I wanted, magnesium, etc. And I went to Amazon and got my stuff there. Best nootropics for being sociable and verbal fluidity. Probably Adrafinil. Along with that, you can consider taking lion's mane if it's something like more to do with just being anxious, or if you want to be that person who easily engages in conversations, you're not shy about it, and build deep connections with people, then it's lion's mane. But if it's something more mood related, then you may want to look into taking like a nice stack, which has perhaps some lion's mane. You can even have some ashwagandha in there to help you with stress and help you with mood, and then Adrafinil when it comes to verbal fluency. And you can even try something like L-tyrosine or caffeine, just depending on how you respond to it. Because there's the nice thing about caffeine or L-tyrosine is just the fact that you become more like driven as a result of the increased dopamine levels. That may make you go ahead and make those uncomfortable conversations, even if you're a little bit anxious. At least you get them done. Why did you stop TRT? Because I didn't need TRT anymore. And I'm a believer that TRT, of course, has downsides. And of course, when you're a younger individual, you don't want to take the risks. So I started with TRT because I had low testosterone levels because of the fact that it was my fault. I did like a crash diet. I wanted to get under 10% body fat, and I did accomplish that. It was very lean, had veins in my stomach and all that. But what was I couldn't get in a state that I had higher libido. I could have energy going to the gym. I just felt horrible all day, and I had to rely on caffeine. So that was why I started using TRT. And pretty much after one, you can say, injection of TRT, then you'd like notice the benefits straight away, mentally, physically, and like every workout you're stronger and stronger. It's unreal. So I like that, but I knew it wasn't sustainable. And I think after about 6 to 8 weeks, I stopped taking it, and I just made a decision to eat in a fashion which had a bit of a calorie surplus. I got over 10% body fat, and because of that, I didn't really need to be on TRT anymore, and didn't want to, of course, take any risks. Not related to nootropics, but do you have any supplements for MPB or diffuse thinning of hair? No, it's really going to depend more so on avoiding supplements. So be more mindful of what your nootropic stack is like, what your supplement stack is like, and look at them individually and really do the research. And most importantly, look at the results. If things are thinning your hair, then avoid them, because I've yet to find any supplements which are going to really do anything to slow down hair loss. Hi, have you ever experimented with Kratom? I've used it very moderately in capsule form, and it's the best nootropic I've ever taken. I've never had trouble with it so far. Yeah, I actually recently tried taking Kratom again, and I really like the anti-anxiety effects. I'm a little bit concerned with the side effects, and just specifically with Kratom, it's not a nootropic that you should be taking every single day. A lot of people have withdrawals ultimately, depending on the dosage. So my experience with it is I would use it here and there. I wouldn't use it maybe more than twice a week. And what you should expect from it is anti-anxiety, a little bit of increased ambition, depending on the individual. What I don't like about it is that it makes me a little bit less structured with my work. I seem to be more distractible for whatever reason. I may I might not be so wise about what the most important priorities are at that moment. So for that reason, I'm not the biggest fan of Kratom. It's kind of similar to taking Phenylpiracetam that way. Agmatine sulfate, any comment on that? Agmatine sulfate, I really like taking it once in the morning. I right now have the it's a green bottle by Nootropics Depot, so I take one capsule every single morning pre-workout, and I do notice there's a bit of an improvement with focus, a little bit of an improvement with energy throughout the day. It's very similar to taking acetyl L-carnitine, also known as Alcar, and I like it. I don't think it's one of the best nootropics out there. Like it would not go in my top 5, would definitely not go in my top 10. I wouldn't call it part of my everyday nootropic stack, but it's something there that if you have nothing against it, I will probably buy it again after I'm finished with it, but not something I can see myself on, years down the road. I'm still seeing if it's worth taking. And what I do like about it though is it's pretty like side effects free. Have you ever tried icing your balls to increase testosterone? I haven't, and I also don't think it would work. Just from my exposure to cold therapy in the past, I've been taking freezing cold showers since I think 2015 when I read about it in Tim Ferriss's book. I think that was the book where I got the idea, the 4 Hour Body. And I didn't notice really freezing cold showers doing anything to help me with weight loss, with workout recovery, improving muscle mass, weight loss. Yeah, like really nothing. But what I did like about it was just the mindset of jumping into this freezing cold shower. If I can get that done in my day, I can do pretty much anything, and other work is not likely to stress me out. So more of like a mindset, just decision. But I recently have started doing ice baths. Within the past 6 months, you can say I've done an ice bath maybe like 10 or maybe 10 to 15 times, not too many times. The longest I've stayed in an ice bath was like 20, maybe 25 minutes. And yeah, really no results whatsoever. But yeah, of course you leave the ice bath feeling absolutely freezing. And it's really interesting because no matter how much you warm yourself up afterwards, whether you wrap yourself in towels, you go in a sauna, you just feel so cold. And it's a very interesting feeling. I like that it gets you like out of your head entirely because you're just so focused on the pain, as strange as that sounds. Give it a shot. And something really interesting that I'm going to just do some homework on is being in an ice bath. For whatever reason, it really stimulates your appetite. You get so hungry. I don't know what exactly it does with that very interesting hunger hormone called ghrelin. That's GHRELIN. But I suspect it does something and would be a really nice way to start off your cheat meal or your cheat day if you have one. When you say you take 300 milligrams of alpha GPC, do you mean 600 milligrams of alpha GPC 50%, which gives you 300 milligrams, or is it exactly 300 milligrams? That's a great question. I was specifically referring to taking 300 milligrams of the alpha GPC 50% form because that's the form most people are taking. There is no reason to take the 99%. They come out to be the same price. With alpha GPC, so to clarify for all of you who aren't familiar, alpha GPC is either sold or typically going to be sold in bottles of 50% alpha GPC or 99% alpha GPC. But the problem with the 99% alpha GPC is that it's very sticky. And if you get like a little drop of moisture in it, then your whole bottle is going to be pretty much ruined. So that's the reason why most people take 50%. And that's what I'm sticking to. Best meditation nootropics that you want to recommend. Ashwagandha and L-theanine are two very popular ones amongst other individuals. But if you were to ask me, I don't like taking any nootropics prior to meditating because the whole purpose of meditation is really to like train your mind to have more control over your thoughts, more control of your state, be aware of your thoughts and be mindful of them, and get in, kind of build that skill to often change states and lower the number of thoughts you have, which is really cool through meditation. So I actually like going into meditation already being in a state where I'm a little bit stressed, I have a lot of thoughts, and then I can practice kind of lowering the number of thoughts I have and raising my vibration. And therefore, you can go ahead and try nootropics if they help you get into the state where you actually want to meditate. But the good thing about meditation is there's no perfect way to practice. The best way to practice is to simply get it in your schedule, accept that you are probably going to have a hard time with it, get through the first 5 minutes, and then it becomes a lot more easier. Which nootropic for enhanced performance in sports like baseball or soccer? For sports like, well, they're very different sports because soccer it's going to be a lot of endurance and nootropics that are going to specifically improving like your aerobic capacity. So for athletes like soccer players, caffeine is really, really popular, and it will really help you with energy levels, like sprinting back and forth. When it comes to something with like baseball, that's more of like kind of like reaction time. Cardio isn't as important, so you want to be present. You may want to consider taking ashwagandha. You may want to consider taking the racetams, and rhodiola rosea can be good for kind of all sports. And just make sure you're getting enough electrolytes. Whether you like taking something like Gatorade, or there's these electrolyte I think like chewing gums out there now and salts. There's all kinds of different kind of things you can purchase. After years of using nootropics, has your personality changed in any way? I don't really think so. The only thing which has changed is that I've stopped looking for a magic nootropic. Whereas I remember at the very beginning stages, I was like looking and looking, thinking there could be one particular nootropic that is actually going to change my life. It's going to 10x my income. It's going to make me study in a much better fashion, where I can only study for like an hour and ace whatever exam, or really just retain information a lot faster. So I've learned, unfortunately, to kind of lower my expectations a little bit, but I still do believe that people who know about nootropics have such an advantage over everyone else, because they've definitely allowed me to be a much more productive person, but a much more well-rounded person. I feel healthier. I don't really feel like nootropics are doing anything wrong to damage me, and I'm happy about that. And I sincerely feel like for my friends or people who I look out for, that there are nootropics that can help them. There's a really neat brand out there. I think it's called Nootopia. And I recently just got their products. And what's really cool is they ask you like this, they give you this long questionnaire. They ask you all about your personality, almost like doing one of those tests you have for to determine your personality style, like Myers-Briggs. And then they send you nootropics based on your answers, which is really cool, because then you don't have to go through, making a nootropic stack and all that. So I found that super cool. I was planning to take lion's mane, but I saw a review and it was saying that if we stop taking lion's mane, then it will make you stupider than your previous level before taking lion's mane. I don't know who the heck comes up with this. I don't believe it. Of course, there's going to be naysayers, and you can see. I would believe something like this if it was more towards a stimulant, like if you take high doses of caffeine or something like Concerta or Adderall. Yes, that would happen, because the moment you stop taking Adderall or you stop taking Concerta, you feel very exhausted, you feel demotivated, you have brain fog, you can't recall things, and for that reason, maybe it would apply. But when it comes to something like lion's mane, it doesn't really boost alertness. If it was such that you were to take lion's mane for a really long time, then what so is during that time that you're using your lion's mane, it's going to improve your mood. It's going to make you more inquisitive. You're going to want to learn about things. And as a result of that, I mean, you're going to learn a lot more from taking the lion's mane than had you would have been without it. And because of that, you're essentially going to be smarter there afterwards. So yeah, I don't know who said that. Oh, I think somebody just erased their comment. Sorry about that. Anista, shoot. After, where did we go? Okay. I have to sit every morning and go over charts and news before the stock market opens. What would be a good stack to be engaged and focused? Great. Okay. In terms of assuming this is morning, you want to have a high level of alertness. Of course, you want to make sure your analytical tendencies are all switched on. For that, I would like the Rastam specifically. So I would like taking something like Noopept, I would like Pramrastam, and I would like Oxyrastam. Noopept, it may not make you the most analytical, but what so is it will really help you with alertness without suppressing your cortisol levels. So, or doing anything, anything even like moderately damaging to your cortisol levels, because in the morning you're going to get this natural good cortisol spike, which you want to take advantage of. So you don't want to take caffeine or stimulants to suppress that. So Noopept, I like Pramrastam because that's something which will make you somewhat calm. It will make you a bit more logical than you usually are. It'll blunt kind of like your emotional reactions to anything. It's like discipline, work ethic, focus, and then Oxyrastam is going to act like a little bit like Noopept, but it also has this nice ability to make you be able to multitask in a much better fashion, which is good, especially in the morning. Skip that comment. That's an example of a comment we don't need. Can I take alpha GPC daily and at nights? Yeah, the answer is that should be okay. Alpha GPC, some people actually take it before bed to help with growth hormone release and help them with sleep. That hasn't really worked for me. Alpha GPC, more so, it's something which is good to kind of like, you can say, boost your energy levels throughout the day. Specifically, like what happens is as you go about your day, you're using mental energy towards everything. It's kind of like your batteries are getting lower and lower and lower. And then as you take alpha GPC, it'll recharge your batteries. So that's why it makes a good for like, it makes it a good fit for any nootropic stack. Alpha GPC or choline is like the most fundamental nootropic you have in all nootropic stacks out there, which is why it's going to be in most of the blends out there. Phenylpiracetam versus Adrafinil, which is better and why? Of the two, you mentioned Adrafinil, you didn't mention modafinil. I like phenylpiracetam a lot better than Adrafinil because phenylpiracetam doesn't have the negative side effects that Adrafinil has. So with Adrafinil, the problem is that you become very irritable. I would say like about 8 hours following ingestion, you'll get in a fight with anyone. You'll be very impatient with people. You'll start to get a headache, and it's not a normal headache. This is like a beast of a headache. It's very hard to fight off. Whereas the other phenyl, the more popular phenyl, modafinil, that's one without the negative side effects. It does really improve your mood, but because of that, it can be somewhat addictive. So that those are two options, which I'm really not sure about. If you were to ask phenylpiracetam versus modafinil, I don't know. I think it depends on the day, depends on the state. I think if you're sleep deprived, then phenylpiracetam is probably going to be a little bit better. That's for me. But if you're not sleep deprived, then probably modafinil because of its mood enhancement. It's like the way modafinil improves your mood makes it such that you're willing to do the work that you hate the most, and you can pretty much make it such that in your week, if you have a number of tasks that you really dread doing, but just must be done, you can put all those tasks into one day and use modafinil that day. And because you're in such a great mood, you'll be able to go through it effortlessly. And it's a nice practical way in which I like using it. I struggle to sleep when taking Shoden at night. Should I give it a week? Yeah, Philip, you should. Well, you should, just depending on how you reacted, because it sounds like you only gave it a shot that one time. And Shoden, so for all of you who are unaware, Shoden is a specific form of ashwagandha, which is supposed to be the best one you can take for relaxation and sleep. It's recently become very popular after a study was conducted in which they gave individuals about 120 milligrams of Shoden a little bit prior to sleeping, and they noticed the subjects, like, they slept much better, they woke up more refreshed, and I've noticed that as well. And since I read that study, I've been taking Shoden once a day just before I sleep, the same dose. I think it's 120 milligrams, and I've been doing that the past 6 to 9 months, and I've really been enjoying it. So you should probably give it a week. Adjust your protocol if anything needs changing. If you had it closer to a meal, then maybe put the meal a little bit earlier, or if you tried it with another nootropic, then forget the other nootropic or nootropics and just take the Shoden by itself, and you can see how it works. I heard taking alpha GPC day. Man, anytime the question starts with "I heard taking," or "I heard this," "I heard that," it's always a silly question. Let's hope not this one. I heard taking alpha GPC daily will make overload of choline, which has a lot of negative side effects. Okay, I wouldn't say it's a silly question. It's almost silly. So this is going to be dependent on the individual. With alpha GPC, this specific form of choline is one in which you really need to find your sweet spot. Excuse me. If you take too much, you may get headaches, and if you take too little, it probably won't do anything, or you may even get headaches as well. So that took me probably about like 4 to 5 months of experimenting when I first started taking alpha GPC until I got it right. And then I definitely noticed that I just generally felt sharper in the day, and my mood was really good at the end of the day. Instead of feeling like tired, or instead of being in a state like, oh crap, I have to do the same thing tomorrow. No, I felt pretty good, felt pretty energized, and I liked it. And that's a good sign that you found the right amount of alpha GPC, which will be dependent on the amount of the rastams that you're taking. If you're taking more piracetam or pramiracetam, then it may be such that you should take a little bit more alpha GPC in order to just balance it out. Does iron supplements help to remove the demotive effect of Bacopa capsule? Not that I know of. I can't really see why iron would do that. Maybe if you're iron deficient, then perhaps it could. But there's going to be more effective things. Think things like Nootropic, caffeine, L-tyrosine, maybe mecunopurines. These are the things which are really going to help you more so with motivation to begin with. Wim Hof Technique. I don't know which technique you're referring to specifically, but I really like the cold shower ones. I read about that in the book that I think Aubrey Marcus had, where you get in a freezing cold shower. I think it's like 30 fast deep breaths. Then you hold your breath, something like that. You leave the shower feeling pretty like invigorated, energetic. And so yeah, I'm open to look into more of his techniques, but I believe there's more than one. Thoughts on nicotine as a nootropic? I don't really know. That's one which I'm still trying to figure out. I went a couple weeks off of it, and then I just took it yesterday after being off it for a couple weeks, and like, wow, I was so energized, I was so alert. But what I don't like about nicotine is you seem to get a little bit of a crash. I don't know why people don't talk about this too often, but with nicotine, it's like after a couple of sprays, assuming that you're using the sprayer, you feel the effects as long as it's in your mouth, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops. And then you get this like slow kind of energy crash, which makes it such that it's not really worth it. But one thing really nice about nicotine is that firstly, it will really clear your mind. As soon as you take it, you will get very driven, and just a couple of sprays under the tongue, having that in your mouth for a few minutes will make it as such that you write down all your priorities, you write down your to-do list, you kind of get nicely like just centered around what are my most important things I need to get done during the course of the rest of the day. And then you can go ahead and execute it, although you may not be, of course, in that good mood thereafter, which is unfortunate because if you can spray nicotine and feel the effects for like half an hour, then man, it would just be magical. Phenylpiracetam thoughts. I've tried it twice. I haven't noticed much from it. Curious to know if you have or anyone else has. Where did your wall text art go? That's a good question. Just I don't know. Maybe I got a bit bored of it. I had some text back here. I also had like a little shelf and maybe like a plant at one time, but figured just to take it down. Change is nice sometimes. Best time to take Bacopa. I like personally taking it twice a day, so I'm usually taking it once at 2 o'clock p.m., once at 6 o'clock p.m., which would probably surprise many of you because I'm not taking it like first thing in the morning. I'm not taking it pre-workout, and that's because Bacopa can be a little bit relaxing, a little bit demotivating, like people have mentioned with ashwagandha. So I don't like taking it first thing in the morning for that reason. But some people do, and some people don't mind it because Bacopa is one of the nootropics out there which is really going to help you with improving your memory. Best supplement for memory for an older person. So for somebody elder, they should really prioritize getting an antioxidant-rich diet. Think blueberries, dark chocolate, alpha lipoic acid. Alpha lipoic acid, that's a really interesting one that I think people should look into, consider giving to their parents. It's like a game changer when it comes to the whole anti-aging process. And I think there's going to be more and more research done on alpha lipoic acid. Dr. Oz has spent some time talking about it. It doesn't have too much of an effect on young individuals because younger individuals already have really good insulin sensitivity. But as your insulin sensitivity decreases when you get older and you potentially get in a state when you have insulin resistance, also known as diabetes, that's when alpha lipoic acid can be really effective. Otherwise, I would stick to the more safer things. Ginkgo biloba is good. For elder people specifically, Piracetam perhaps, not the other racetams because they are still a little bit risky. What's the best nootropic for self-doubt and procrastination? I'm trying out L-tyrosine and L-theanine together and it helps little. I also have bad anxiety sometimes. So for self-doubt and procrastination, I actually don't really like the amino acids. I don't like L-tyrosine and I don't like L-theanine because they are putting a bandage on a bigger problem that really can't be fixed with a bandage, because with L-tyrosine and L-theanine, they'll last for an hour, maybe 2 hours tops, but you're going to be better off using something which takes a bit of time to build up in your system. So think something like taking lion's mane, think of taking ashwagandha, maybe rhodiola rosea if it's more like a fatigue versus like a general self-doubt type of thing. So the first is like just go into that sensation of self-doubt, procrastination, like what really does that feel like? How does it feel socially? And then you can ask yourself more questions to really find like the root of the problem. If it's work-related, then what so is yes, L-tyrosine may help because maybe it could be such that if you made a little bit more money, then you'll feel better about yourself. So if that's the case, then think of all the nootropics which will help you with your work ethic. L-tyrosine, caffeine, perhaps mixing the both of them, adding some NALT and acetyl-L-cysteine, that can maybe help you too. Best nootropic to stabilize mood. I like Piracetam. I also do believe in taking some of the you can say supplements that are going to help you overall, like taking fish oil, something that's really rich in omega-3s, get high EPA, high DHA. That has been pretty effective with me at stabilizing my mood. Get a good multivitamin, make sure you're getting your sleep. Fix your diet. Think of a diet with complex carbohydrates, a good mix of healthy fats, carbs, and proteins. And if you don't have a stable mood, it could likely be because you're not consuming enough fats, because fats are the best thing to improve your mood, to make it such that you don't experience those highs and lows in the day. And especially if you're taking nootropics, then do consider the fact that you're probably not getting enough fat. So get a nice mix of polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and saturated fats. Have you tried the Genius brand? I have not, but I'm curious. So if you could tell me a little bit more. Any experience or thoughts on NoFap? I think NoFap is a little bit overrated. Yeah, I'm surprised it's so hyped up. I don't know if there's any studies or any science done on it. I guess the whole like theory of why it works does make sense, but I'm not that convinced. What would you say is the best overall bang for the buck with neutrophil blends? If you're talking about nootropic blends, Cognetics is pretty hard to compete with. Gorilla Mind Smooth, I think it's pretty affordable, which makes it good when you say bang for the buck. Maybe it's not the most effective, but those two come to mind. Any tips for sticking to a schedule? Pramiracetam is really good. I like Noopept. I like Piracetam. I like Choline. I don't like ashwagandha too much because that can make you want to it'll make you want to stick to a schedule which doesn't involve much work. How much choline do you think you need each day for peak functioning? I find many things seem to deplete my choline stores. If that's such, then add more choline, because I don't think there's anything really wrong with it. There's particular nootropic blends out there which have doses of like 750 milligrams of alpha GPC, and they're still very popular and they help a lot of people. So don't compare other people's choline intakes to your own. We're all a little bit different. And especially if you're somebody who has like more than 6 hours of intense work each day, intense work, then you're probably looking at taking more alpha GPC than others. Have you heard of... Nope, I have not. Okay, a lot of spam over here. Is it the dirty little secret that most professional athletes are on test? Most athletes have very distinct facial features and facial hair, especially American athletes. Yeah, I do believe that. I don't think it's a little secret. I think this has been a problem for a while now. And there's more indications of just that. I think it's pretty easy to pass a blood test these days. What are your thoughts on Lion's Mane by Host Defense? I've not tried it, but the different forms of Lions, I've probably tried Lion's Mane from maybe like 7 or 8 different vendors. There's Nootropics Depot, Fresh Cap. What else is there? Force Sigmatic. I tried it from Smart Powders in the past. There's been a lot of different brands, and they've all been pretty good. I've not tried one form of Lion's Mane, which didn't do anything for me. Maybe just because I'm more sensitive to nootropics than others. Have you changed your mind on Huperzine A? It's very effective from my experience. David, I have not changed my mind on Huperzine A, but I also haven't tried it since I last maybe talked bad about it, because it didn't do anything for me. I didn't have side effects, which is good. I'm curious to know what you liked about it, so you can tell me more. Wow, this person really keeps on spamming. Romantane, shoot. Don't you think pills... Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to find this. Have you ever tried neurofeedback? Not yet. I'd be curious to know if there's just a practical way of doing it. I wish I could just get one of the devices and measure my brainwaves and all that, and then I would just be addicted to that, because the whole idea of getting feedback on how you are and how you're performing, that makes it such that you're easily able to make adjustments. The closest thing I've done to neurofeedback is that meditation device called Muse, where you put it on your head, and the more mindful you are, or the better you are at focusing on your breath, the less the birds chirp these noises. So that's the kind of most accurate thing I've done, but I don't even know if it was that accurate, because you're wearing this meditation device, which is pretty uncomfortable to begin with. Man, how can we make it such that we don't have all these spammers? Best supplement for insomnia. Taking valerian root is pretty good. Taking ZMA is good. Taking tribulus is good. We mentioned Shoden. That can also be good as well. Nootropic pills versus mouth sprays. I really like mouth sprays. If I had a choice, I would much rather take mouth sprays. I don't, because not a lot of nootropics are available that way, but it seems like just spraying something and getting some moisture makes it really effective that way. Would you ever revisit NSI 189, interesting compound. Yeah, I probably would. I've not had a need to within the past few years because what got me taking NSI 189 to begin with was being in a really bad state, maybe a little bit of depression, maybe hitting like a low point at work, maybe plateauing at something. But I'm happy to say I've not experienced anything like that the past few years anyway, which is why I haven't tried NSI 189. I think I've taken maybe 3 or 4 cycles of it. The first cycle I took, it was really effective. It seemed to like rewire all your thinking, the way you would just generally have thought processes. It was really interesting. The second time that I took NSI 189 on the typical cycle, I think it was 30 days. I didn't notice much from it. And then, it had just diminishing effects, you can say. Is the lion's mane extract 4-to-1 potentially give huge differences than the lion's mane with the 1-to-1 extract? Not huge differences, but it is something that you will notice because the 1-to-1 extract is the extract that is going to help you overall with immunity, anti-aging. It will help it will make it such that you don't get sick. May not help you much when it comes to cognition, learning faster, thinking, planning, all that good stuff. So if you want that benefit, you want to be more productive, then look at getting the 8-to-1 extract. That's the best form. And I've not taken the 1-to-1. I've not really had any reason to take the 1-to-1 after going on the 8-to-1. How can somebody improve his mental performance without pills, just in a natural way? How do you deal with stress and anxiety? Thanks. Pornesh, that's a great question. Get in uncomfortable situations as much as you can. If something is comfortable and you feel like you're in your comfort zone, then leave that box, go to a more challenging box. If you're the smartest person in the room, then leave the room. So get into situations that are going to make it such that you're better than you're a better version of the person you are yesterday, and keep on doing anything you can to build your resilience and your mental resilience. Are you a pharma student? No, I am not. Why are people keep on repeating their question. Everyone, I'm going to get to all the questions, but repeating the question is just making it such that I am having a hard time finding the next question and even concentrating. So too much CDP choline makes me feel weird. Yeah, that's interesting because CDP choline isn't really that strong. It could be because you're not taking a lot of different nootropics, because as you take other nootropics, it will make it such that you should be taking more CDP choline, and then you can get away with it. Have you tried brain training to increase your IQ? I find it better for long-term cognitive enhancement versus the acute effects of nootropics. I have increased my IQ by 13 points already via brain training. I used to do a lot of brain training until I realized that brain training will make you better at brain training games. Why not go ahead and practice a skill that you actually want to develop? Doing something like being in sales and talking to a lot of different types of personality styles in order to get away winning the conversation or getting the sale. Just doing something like that, I think of that as brain training. You'll notice when something is really helping you. For example, learning the piano, learning a language, anything which is going to be challenging is going to be brain training in itself. So I'm not really somebody who believes that brain training is going to make you become smarter, but I think doing like mentally challenging work will make you smarter. What nootropics work consistently without building a tolerance? Depends who you ask. Like for me, I still say caffeine still works. I haven't built a tolerance, but if you ask the next person, they built a tolerance to it. So lion's mane works pretty good. Ashwagandha works pretty good too. What else? Alpha GPC. Those are 3 I can think of just right there, which you don't need to take time off of them too frequently, and you can get away with it. Have you heard? Okay, this question came again. Okay, that question came again. Have you tried probiotics? I've tried seed and it's very strong. Yeah, I've tried a number of different probiotics. I like taking a probiotic before like a big meal, like a cheat meal, just to help with digestion and having a healthy gut, but don't really think it helps too much. Maybe it will when I'm a little bit older. What time personally do you take your Tongkat Alley, and how much a day for results? What I personally do is I take 200 milligrams of it within 20 minutes of eating like my biggest meal of the day. So that's typically dinner, maybe like 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. So you can take 200 milligrams of your Tongkat Alley and then have it with a meal. I may recommend that you have it with your biggest meal of the day, just like I'm doing, because if you don't, and if you take it in a fasted state or with not enough calories, then you may get pretty lightheaded and even almost feel like vomiting in some cases. Are there... Okay, which newts would help when I plan on spending a night out, approaching and talking to women? So that's a scenario in which you may actually want to consider taking something like phenibut, because that's going to really help you with anti-anxiety. It will make you more social. It's like a safer version of alcohol. That's what a lot of people consider phenibut to be, because it seems to lower your inhibitions that way, makes it such that you want to talk to people. I also really do like lion's mane. I feel like lion's mane makes you more present, makes you a lot less attached to the outcome, and you feel like, yeah, like calm, and you as well, like you're genuinely interested in people. So if you want to go out and spend time trying to pick up chicks, then it's always nice to fake an interest in them, get to know them better, and that's where lion's mane can help you out. Can you take phenylalanine with tyrosine? Yes, this is actually a pretty common practice pre-workout. So phenylalanine taken with tyrosine does have some synergy to it. People notice they get in a really good mood. They notice a little bit of increased energy. I think it's a little bit overrated, and that's the reason why a lot of manufacturers are not adding phenylalanine to their pre-workouts anymore. They're sticking to something like tyrosine or N-acetyl-L-tyrosine or caffeine, and those work just fine. I don't really see any need to take phenylalanine. As a matter of fact, I have like a huge tub of it somewhere upstairs, and I haven't touched it in months. Are you still taking creatine? Yes, I'm still taking creatine. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not taking the the simple powder form, the Creapure. I think that's what it's called, Creapure, which is the most potent form of creatine that's manufactured somewhere in Germany. I'm just taking it in my pre-workout, which has, I think, 3 grams, maybe 5 grams, and that's doing the trick for me. Have you tried Dehexa or Fidogia or Bromantane? No, these are all substances which I don't look at them as being too healthy, so no reason to get on them. Did you notice any positive mental benefits with like increased drive or motivation when you were on TRT? Yes, absolutely. I've talked about this before. When you're on TRT, I hate to say this because it's kind of depressing in its own way, but when you're on TRT, like everything's better. Like everything is better. Better mood, better drive. You're learning things faster. You're able to sleep for 6 hours, feeling like you've gotten the best sleep in the world. You've recovered well. Like you're waking up literally so enthusiastic that you're going to go just conquer the world and you can do anything. It's pretty incredible. And you're in such an amazing mood, which is the problem with it, and which is why you want to stay away from it, because it's like too good to be true to be in that state all the time. Like it's damn effective. After one consumption, you can say, of TRT, I felt that within minutes. Like procrastination absolutely gone, energy through the roof, like really feeling great. Nicotine, what works for energy without building tolerance? Yeah, that's something kind of underrated with energy and building your energy levels, especially in the middle of the day, is rhodiola rosea. So you may want to look into that. Don't do TRT. Yeah, I agree. Well, why is there so much talk of TRT all of a sudden? This seems to be like the most hottest thing out there, even more so than nootropics. Best appetite suppressants, rhodiola rosea, just mentioned that. Green tea extract, that's really effective. Or even just taking green tea, a couple tea bags in boiling hot water, that does well. Coffee, I don't think, is a good appetite suppressant, because when you crash, you can often be hungry for the wrong foods. What else is there? Bacopa is pretty effective. Lion's mane really won't do much. And you're welcome to ask me about any specific appetite suppressant otherwise, and I can let you know. Ephedrine, I don't recommend it. It's not safe, but that's probably the most effective appetite suppressant out there. Yo. What nootropics have you had today? Probably not enough. It's Saturday, so I only worked half a day. I didn't have nootropics 3 times a day. I only had them once, and I had this product that was sent to me kindly from Nootropia, and I gave that a shot. So what I had in the morning, aniracetam, piracetam, I had oxiracetam, I also had pramiracetam. I took a pre-workout which had a bunch of ingredients, mainly caffeine, L-tyrosine, vitamin B, citrulline malate, beta-alanine. I think I had some vitamin B12. I had a little bit of L-tyrosine after that. And what I really liked today, I can tell you what I enjoyed, was taking Procrastination after going about a month and a half off of it. And I really felt it, like the alertness, the discipline I got. I'm not usually that effective on Saturdays. I don't get the most productive work done. I get busy, maybe not as high paying work get done, but today was a good day. And I think it's a result of getting a good workout in, taking some Procrastination, and feeling like I was in state. So I'm enjoying that. Procrastination, I think it's really underrated, but the problem is it's so expensive. Like a Nootropics Depot, their little small bottle of Procrastination is $100 US, unfortunately. Member Proof is the best. Nootropics where I can take once a day and feel the effect for a day. Of the ones that we've discussed on this stream, the only one which comes to mind so far is Phenylpiracetam and maybe Adrafinil. Modafinil is one of the other more popular ones. So other than that, caffeine, it's you'll feel the effect if you use it the right time during the day. If you take caffeine first thing in the morning, then it may not be the best because within 4 to 5 hours, it'll be out of your system. But if you use it, for example, like after a couple of hours of waking up, you get a good workout in, then it's safe to say that it's made a good effect on your whole day. Is it true that rhodiola rosea has a mild antidepressant effect? Have you noticed this? And have you ever experimented with taking larger doses of rhodiola? When you say larger doses, I'm not sure what you mean. The most I've probably taken is like maybe 750 milligrams to 1 gram. And if I had done that, it was probably accidental. Because is everything has a mild antidepressant effect. I mean, in so many ways. Like if something is going to help you with focus, if something is going to help you with suppressing your appetite, then it may work that way too. Like Bacopa, lion's mane, L-tyrosine, Procrastination, a lot of them are like that. So the question is, what are the safest nootropics you can take which are going to have an antidepressant effect? And what I consider rhodiola rosea to be one of them? No, not really. I think there's stronger things out there like L-tyrosine, which works directly on dopamine, or 5-HTP, which works directly on serotonin. Bromontane is the... What's up, everyone? What's up, Founds Fox? Replace alcohol with kava. Okay. Okay. Have you ever tried taking saw palmetto? The only time I've taken saw palmetto was in specific testosterone, like you can say, like natural test boosters. I think it was in Test Freak and some other ones, but I didn't really notice too much of a benefit. I think it's more so there for like the antioxidant benefits, if anything. Alpha GPC makes me tired. Then you may want to consider taking something like CDP choline or acetylcholine. That could work a little bit better for you. Doesn't matter what time you take the adaptogens. Can you take them all at once? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking all the adaptogens at once. In fact, that's how I like to take them, just by kind of like layering them on top of each other. So what that looks like is somewhere in the middle of the day when you want to de-stress, want to take a nice break without having to take an hour off of work, you can consider taking like Bacopa, Mineri, and rhodiola rosea together, 300 milligrams of each, and that will give you like a nice reset to the day. You'll feel in a much less stressed of a state. What is the maximum number of nootropics you've taken in a day? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'll start counting these things because I know people are curious. Did you notice a big increase in appetite and water retention? If so, how did you fix it? Are you referring to when I was on TRT? Because if that's what you meant, then I noticed a slight increase with my appetite, although I didn't mind it because I was wanting to work out and was wanting to be more active. So that comes along with it. With water retention, no, I don't. I think if anything, it makes you look a little bit more leaner, helps you with cuts, and you start to really look better. How often do you restock your nootropics? I restock them when I'm out of them. So I'm that bad example. But what I like about that is that actually gives me a time to get off of the nootropics, because I don't really have a specific schedule or a spreadsheet as far as when I'm going to get off of a specific nootropic. My typical practice is like when I'm out of something, I will wait a week or so, depending on how I'm feeling, before reordering it again. And I realize it's not the most organized way of going about it, but that has worked well for me. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't allow me to know how often I'm cycling off of things. So we'll see how that goes. Have you tried Magtine magnesium L-threonate? Yes, I've tried it, and I really enjoy it, because what's so is Magtine is, it's a very unusual nootropic because it will help you with energy, but at the same time, it will help you with sleep. Like, it just makes you better at recovery. I think of like this Aura ring I have, which tells me my score of my kind of like how resilient I am during the day. If I want to try more creative projects, if I'm in my best state, it pretty much gives me a score, and that's something where I can kind of relate to like Magtine. Magtine makes it such that you're in the state that you really want to be in. If you want to be sharp to go on presentations or do something work related, or if you want to be in the state that you're switching down, switching off for the evening and getting to bed, Magtine can also help in that way. So it's cool. You can take it in the morning, you can take it in the evening, although it's like very expensive, unfortunately. Thoughts on CMAX? It increases BDNF. While I like it, it seems like a better version of Noopept, but when I started to read more into its effects on hair loss and started to read some of the really bad reports people were making about it, then I got off of CMAX and I never took it again. Although I did enjoy it. I tried it in the drops, like the tinctures. I tried it in the nasal spray, and that was probably for a few years. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. Really helps with ambition. It helps with ambition. Also gives you a bit of calmness, which makes it such that you don't really need something like ashwagandha. Because when I stopped taking CMAX, that's when I started using ashwagandha and started using adaptogens a little bit more. Are there nootropics you take regularly at night? Melatonin, lemon balm, valerian root. So melatonin, no. The ones that I'm taking at night currently are, I'm taking ZMA, I'm taking lemon balm, I'm taking Shoden, and I'm taking Tribulus. And that's something I'm enjoying taking. I tried taking magnolia bark for a couple of months, but I didn't notice. I really didn't notice much from taking that. Do you still cold call? If so, do you take anything beforehand? Yeah, we can say warm call. I don't really call strangers, but I call potential prospects. And no, I don't take anything beforehand because I've practiced that. I've probably done over like 9,000 hours of cold calls or warm calls, prospecting calls, door knocking in my career so far in selling residential real estate. So because of that, it's not as such like picking up the phone is a very daunting or hard task. Now I look at it more like it's fun. It's a challenge. I'm hoping that the person on the other side of the line is rude, is obnoxious, is hard to convince, because those calls, they get you stimulated, they get you alert, and you get in that flow state, which I really enjoy. And if you ever want to make calls together, we can get on Google Hangouts or Skype, because I'm in a session a few times a week with a bunch of other people, and we're making our calls together, and it seems to go pretty fun. So you can directly message me on Instagram or something if you want to join up on that. Where is Owen Wu? I've got no idea. Hi, it's been a long time to get you live. I'm glad to see. Yeah, I'm glad to see you all too. I'll be doing these more often. I've traveled a few times within the past few months. I came back from England yesterday. I was in the States a couple times, both in August and September. But I'm still working and going about growing this channel. And let me know, guys, if you have any thoughts as far as videos you want me to release soon. My next video is going to be on nootropic stacks, specifically for studying for exams, like a cram. Think of it like if you have to cram for an exam, you have an exam coming in a couple of weeks. What's a nootropic stack you can use daily in order to get you in that state where you can get through and pass your exam? So that's a video I have coming up this week. I'm going to go over those specific nootropics and break them down. I may start talking a little bit more about nootropics specifically that will help you with improving your testosterone levels and improving your physique, if that's what you want to know about. If you guys want to know about fat loss, I'm more than happy to talk a little bit more about diet, but I think most people want to learn more about how to be more productive, and I'm super happy to talk about that because I'm learning a lot more about nootropics. I'm trying modafinil sometimes I'm not taking it, and I've finally nailed down a way to get the whole modafinil or stimulant practice right. I've found something that's really working well for me, and at the same time is going to have long-term benefits. So I really like talking about nootropic stacks. That's something I could do more videos on, like a nootropic stack for gamers, or a nootropic stack for engineers, or nootropic stacks for students. So whatever ideas you guys have, no matter how niche they are, I don't really think there's any bad video topics out there. So let me know. What are your lion's mane in general is very moderate to light effect, to be honest. Wally, I really do agree with that, because the only reason why I was kind of convinced that lion's mane was really effective was because I started using it at a time when I was like really work stressed, and it was such like I was daunting the idea of waking up to work the next day. But if it was such that I was entering into a course of my life now and started taking lion's mane, I probably wouldn't notice much from it, because the most effective thing, which it seems to do, is really improve your mood. Best nootropics for pre-workout: L-tyrosine, caffeine, vitamin B. I think the rest of them aren't really nootropics, which are going to help you with focus, but they're more so going to help you with recovery, with building muscle mass, and so forth. And guys, I really apologize that there have been so many spammers in this live stream so far that I'm answering the comments in an order which was not planned. So I'll think of maybe next time getting like a moderator just to help me through this and deleting all these spam little comments here. Imagine if Einstein took nootropic pills. Exactly. That's the thing. Like, nootropics, who are we to say that somebody was smart because they didn't use nootropics? Because it could be such that they could be a smart individual, but if they use nootropics, they could have been even more intelligent, been even more successful. Creatine is the best for muscle growth. Yes. It's one of the best things out there. Really, because it's been around for so long. It's not like a trend or a fad. It's more so something which has proven benefits and does have some nice purposes as nootropic supplement, specifically around fighting like a sleep-deprived state. Creatine, rhodiola rosea, and L-tyrosine are probably the most effective and safe nootropics you can take if you haven't got enough sleep, like 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And if you want to take something without experiencing like a crash, like caffeine will give you, then those are 3 definitely worth looking into. You've nootropic stacks for entrepreneurs. Yeah, that's going to really depend on the work. But for every entrepreneur out there, I really think that a good place to start is taking Piracetam and Choline. That was the nootropic stack that I first started taking. And because it's designed around helping you with work ethic, helping you with energy levels, verbal fluency, really getting like good measures objectively speaking. Yeah, those are 2 which you definitely don't want to sleep on. Even if you've tried Piracetam once or twice, you've not noticed the benefits. Take it properly, give it a couple weeks, be patient with it, because that's the reality with Piracetam. It does take a little bit of time to build up in your system. And guys, I really hope you found this informative. I'm going to do more of these live streams, so tune in and I'll get on a more consistent schedule, and then expect sometime within the next half an hour that I will post timestamps in the description box below, so you can just refer back to a particular question or fast forward to a particular question that is pertinent to you. And don't forget to join me on Discord. I'll put the link in the description, and on Patreon, you're welcome to chat with me one-on-one. Thanks guys so much for your interest in nootropics, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.